The idea behind the project is that they are working with skills they're learning in perspective and trying to design things. We're using cargo containers as an alternative building structure, and they're having to think about the pros and cons of building with cargo containers and how it can be used for sustainability.
So we were given the dimensions of 8 by 8.5 by 20, and our task was to create a cargo structure that was stable.
Both blocks, 3rd and 7th, used these pipes to construct a sort of model first on our own. We decided to come up with a consensus and find one of the designs that we could have used to model our actual product.
They had a final design that they decided would be their presentation. There was still some altering and changing after that point, but that was the presentation they chose to represent their class for the build.
So, we have our lead people. These are who you go to if you need help with anything. We all signed out our jersey numbers. You all have the blueprint. You need to review your rubric. I'm grading you on teamwork, build time, budget, and structure.
So all of the yellow hats were leadership roles. So our leaders were the chief architect, the chief engineer. We had 2 people from finance and accounting to make sure the budget was correct and that we were using the correct supplies. And then we had a 4-person, and that person was in charge of making sure everybody was on task and doing what they're supposed to.
1, 2, 3, go.
During the build, I chose the yellow hats just as a way for everybody to find someone that's a leader if they didn't know what to do.
All right, what is supposed to be right here, 8.5?
So you took one of the long ones, attach it to one of the small ones, and then attach that to one of the long ones.
So I was basically connecting things together and making sure that it was in place and wouldn't like fall as we lifted it and things like that.
What are those? Wait, are those 8.5?
I'd say the most challenging thing was trying to build it with the limited connectors we had and within the parameters of the structure.
We like use a hammer to bang it down and also just like try to push them together as hard as possible. At the beginning, everyone they didn't really know what they were doing, so we just all like figured it out as we went on and got closer to finishing.
Once we got into it, we managed to build it quickly.
They had to build the structure. Once they built it, they had to step away from the structure and make sure it stood. And then I threw this in just as an extra thing. They had to move the structure to a different space.
So we carried it to the grass in order to see if our structure was stable enough.
And that was something they didn't know about, but I felt like I have to score them on structure, so whether or not it stayed together is part of your structure grade. So I wanted to challenge them in some way.
Took it there and then brought it back to see if it stayed intact.
I really liked working together and seeing how quickly we could do it.
17.15 seconds.
I think everything just really clicked well for the kids. I was so proud of them. They really communicated with each other.
How do you feel about structure? What would you do differently?
We should have checked to make sure everything was camera.
Okay. And so in the end, I think that's something that I would talk about a lot more in the beginning, because I felt like that was something they achieved a really high level on, was being able to communicate and work as a team, as a unit, and the idea of like having pride in what you guys made together.
You guys are going for your marking period exam.